Just under 2 minutes left in the game. 27-13 Dogs right now over the number one team in the country. The initial college football playoff having Tennessee number one. And we'll get to the post game when this game officially ends. But Georgia on top by 14 with the ball. Just stopped Tennessee. Picking up their 7th sack of the game. Again, we'll talk about that more when this game is officially over. I wanted to start it now just to jump ahead. But, man, what a day by Stetson Bennett. 17 of 25, 257, 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdown passes. He had a touchdown run. I think he rushed for 30. I know he had more rushing yards than Hendon Hooker. I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, looks like the Dogs are going to roll to a victory. A game that, the Dogs pretty much led the entire way except for the first drive. Two fumbles by two young running backs. DeJuan Edwards had the first one, and I think Brants and Robinson had the second one. Those are the only 2 turnovers in the game for Georgia. It's coming up to a 3rd down and 6, under 1:40. Tennessee has only 1 timeout. You got to think Josh Heupel is going to burn a timeout if Georgia doesn't get it. Obviously, if Georgia does get it, there's no point to even burn the timeout. But comparing the yards, both defenses holding both offenses under their average, which is something I didn't really expect coming in to this game. But how well Georgia's defense played today is absolutely insane. And yep, Georgia picks up the first down, so now we can get right into it. Georgia pulls off the 27-13 home win against Tennessee. Coming into the game, both offenses were top 2 in the nation in total offense. Tennessee being number 1 at like 553 yards per game, while Georgia was sitting at 530-something yards per game. Georgia hits, I think, almost 400 yards. I don't know if they added in that rush yet. They haven't yet. So Georgia, I think, will finish with 398. That's my guess. 396, 397, 398, something like that. With 140 yards rushing. Not the best, but against one of the better rush defenses, we'll take that. And I wrote it down over there, too. Pretty sure Tennessee came in top 5 in the nation in rush defense. I think they gave up 90-something yards per game. Georgia, on the other hand, was top 5 for sure, only giving up about 85 yards per game. We'll talk about Stetson Bennett in a second here, but rush offense, really, Tennessee couldn't get anything going all game. Let's just be real. Yes, they did score a touchdown on their second to last drive. Tennessee just could not get in a rhythm all game. Tennessee, first downs, they just couldn't run the football consistently. I mean, they had, if you include all the sacks, they had 42 rush attempts for just 94 yards. That's just 2.4 yards per carry. Hendon Hooker himself had 18 carries for 17 yards. Again, add all those sacks. But speaking about our sacks, Georgia came into this game bottom in the SEC in sacks per game at 10. We sacked Hendon Hooker 7 times in this game. That's one of the best defensive stats that Kirby Smart has had, especially in his tenure at Georgia. This year, we just could not get to the QB. Now, why is this so impressive? Well, Tennessee came in number 3 in the SEC in QB pressures allowed and QB sacks. Hendon Hooker himself had only been sacked 10 or 11 times coming into this game. Georgia's front 7 and even Javon Ballard was able to pressure Hendon Hooker almost all game, and Georgia was able to sack him 7 times. And this is a Tennessee offensive line. It's one of the best in the SEC. And Tennessee was getting QB pressured allowed at like 22%. So like one out of every 5-ish plays. And Tennessee could never get on a rhythm. Hendon Hooker threw one interception. I will say that was an amazing play by Keely Ringo. But our best corner versus their best wide receiver, for the most part, won that battle. Cedric Tillman, yeah, he had 7 catches for 68 yards, but this is a guy that is a home run hitter, and Tennessee had no home run plays. The longest play that they had came on that 4th down, I think in the 4th quarter. They got 28 yards by Jalen Hyatt. Another guy, that's their home run hitter, averages 20.5 yards per catch, averages just about 2 touchdowns per game, 0 touchdowns, and he did have 6 catches for 63 yards. But most of his catches, especially in the first half, were at or around the line of scrimmage and easily getting tackled for about a 3 or 4 yard gain. Brew McCoy, 6 catches, 38 yards. Not a lot of deep balls. In fact, no deep balls were hit in this game for Tennessee, and that's really the difference. If you hold Tennessee within the lines, they're not going to be a team like Georgia. Georgia is by far the most athletic defensive team in the nation. And Georgia does have the best defense in the nation. And a lot of people were coming into, not even into this game, but into the season and talking about how bad Georgia's defense is going to be this year. And we all expected Georgia's defense to decline a bit, but it's Kirby Smart. He does this year in, year out, top 5 every single season. And forget about top 5. You can't put up this performance and not be number 1, in my opinion, especially defensively. The number 1, like I said, number 1 scoring defense, number 1 total offense, number 2 passing offense, I'm pretty sure, number 2 or 3 passing offense, top 20 or 23rd ranked rush offense. Holding this Tennessee team to just 13 points is insane. Like, that is almost unheard of. I didn't even believe Georgia would win this game in a lower scoring game. Again, this game, there was only 40 points. The over-under, I think, was set at 50-something, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was at 58. Georgia was a favorite by 8.5, 9 points. But yeah, complete domination by Georgia's defense. Love to see it. Tennessee, Hendon Hooker missed some throws, but it was because of the pressure. We were able to really get to the quarterback today. Like I said, 7 sacks. Like, you go back, we haven't really had something similar to that since maybe you can say national title game. Yeah, 5. We did have 5 sacks, but we were making Hendon Hooker's life terrible, like we did against Clemson last year, where we had 8 sacks and multiple tackle for losses. That's felt like something similar today. Their longest rush was only 11 yards. They had 2. I think they only had 2 carries for 10-plus yards in this game. 0 for 20-plus. Again, that's a giant win for UGA. Tennessee's offense, like I said, did nothing. Under 300 yards of total offense. In fact, the last time we played Hendon Hooker and Tennessee, I'm pretty sure we held them to about the same numbers. So something with the scheme here that Kirby Smart has against Josh Heupel. But let's talk about our offense now. Like I said, Stetson Bennett played really well, and I expected him to play pretty well in this game. First half, Georgia completely dominated, 24-6. No, 21-3. No, 24-6. Yeah, gosh, I almost forgot. It started off pretty shaky. We had Edwards fumbled the ball, right? And we held Tennessee to just 1 first down, field goal. Just right after that, went down the field, I think a 7-play drive, if I'm not mistaken. Just went down like butter. No, it was a 5-play, 80-yard drive. We hit a deep ball, and we just smashed it in Tennessee's mouth. And we never looked back. Tennessee couldn't do anything in the first half against Georgia. I mean, we had over 350 yards, 24 points. Really could have punched it in if we were a little bit better with time management. Not going to get nitpicky with that. Could have been 28-6 at half. That's really about it. That's more on Kirby Smart, but it doesn't matter. First half won us this game because got outscored in the second half 7-3. But I'm not going to get too much into that. We can blame the weather, but it's more conservative aspect to the game. Something that I'm not a big fan of. Oh, and I forgot to say this. We got screwed over, in my opinion. That was a safety by Tennessee. I don't know how I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know how they came to the conclusion that the ruling on the field stand. You guys let me know. Maybe I was missing something. Maybe I'm just being biased, but I'm trying to be completely unbiased here. That was a safety. Like, I don't even think there's ifs, ands, or buts about it, but didn't matter, I guess. I always hate that argument. People say, oh, would you rather have 7 than 2? Well, yeah, you obviously, but you would get the ball back anyway when you get the 2 points. And you get the ball back probably around the 45. But, hey, whatever. I'm not getting into that. I thought that was a safety. I thought it was pretty obvious it was a safety. You guys let me know. I'm not looking at chat yet, but you guys let me know. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Arkansas just got upset. Are you kidding me? Anyway, second half, the rain came, and neither team – well, Georgia just didn't do much. Went down, got a field goal. Took back time of possession, though. I forgot to even mention this. First half, believe it or not, Tennessee was leading in time of possession. Georgia went on an 9-minute drive, 15 plays. And I'm going to look at time of possession. Georgia won time of possession again. Again, if you didn't know, coming into this game, Georgia's number 1 in the country in time of possession. Tennessee is actually not as low as you think in time of possession. But forced the fumble after the field goal. Then we fumbled. After that, defense just clutched up. Tennessee had the ball for like 7 minutes. See, we pushed Tennessee out of their comfort zone, and that's really why our defense really won this game. Yeah, we were locking down defensively, but our front seven just dominated. And guys that really haven't received that much playing time, especially in big game moments, they stepped up today. I'm not even going to lie. Marvin Jones Jr., how about him? Javon Bullock, Ballard, obviously a starter, relatively younger guy. But it's good to see some of these younger guys come in and play really well, especially on defense. So, yeah, Georgia gets a huge home win against Tennessee, 27-13, completely dominated this game, was down 3-0 for like literally 2 minutes. And after that, it was over. Moving on, is Georgia going to go 15-0? I really hope so. Boy, oh boy, we can imagine that going 14-1, winning a national title, turning around, go 15-1. I mean, with all what we've lost, yeah, that would be awesome. But yeah, Jalen Walker, freshman, Marvin Jones Jr., true freshman, stepped up. They were getting pressure on the QB. Ryan Davis had that sack towards the end of the game. Tremez Marshall, I think he's a redshirt junior. I think he got a sack. Michael Williams got a start. Like seeing that true freshman out there. So a lot of these younger guys and guys that don't play as much stepped up today, and that's what it's all about. Sometimes, in my opinion, having some of these younger guys come into these bigger situations, giving them playing time, and them stepping up. That's why we're 2 and 3 deep at every position on defense. So yeah, Keely Ringo, another amazing interception. No Nolan Smith, no problem. And I thought coming into this game we would have somewhat of an issue without him, because he's clearly our most talented player on the defensive line. Yes, I am including Jalen Carter, who's been hurt all year, and he had a tremendous game. See, when he's 100% or even 80%, he's a problem for every everyone, especially on that offensive line. Cooper Mays, my goodness, he had a terrible game for Tennessee, for saying the least. I mean, the entire offensive line did, but does Tennessee still have the best offense in the nation? Georgia's is the best defensive team in the nation. Georgia is the let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and ask this: Is Georgia the best team in the country? I really, really, really am going to go with yes, and I was going with Ohio State, simply because to me Ohio State looked like the best complete team throughout the last not really from weeks 3 to 7. I thought Ohio State was the best team. From 1 to 3, I thought Georgia was the best team, and ever since week 8 and on, I think we've been the best team. So I personally would have Georgia at number 1. Ohio State looked terrible today. I mean, they looked absolutely terrible. Their offensive line played bad. C.J. Stroud played bad. Myron Williams stepped up in the second half. The first half played terrible. Ohio State looked terrible today. I mean, Northwestern is a bad team. Northwestern lost to an FCS team, a Group of 5 team, and Duke in a non-con. Duke's not terrible, I guess, but and they haven't won a big. They're actually 0-8 in the last 8. They haven't won a Big 10 game since the Nebraska game in Ireland. Team hasn't won a home game. In fact, I'm pretty sure they've been playing worse at home than how they've been playing on the road. So Ohio State, in my opinion, I've been disappointed with Ohio State the past couple of weeks. But who's right there? Michigan. Would I dare having Michigan at number 2? I'm telling you, I think Tennessee is a pretty good team. They ran into a team that is more talented and better coached. That's just my opinion. Tennessee, you can't win games with your defensive backs and your DB core giving up 300 yards passing per game. Now, today they only gave up 260 to Stetson Bennett. But for the entire season, they've been struggling all year. And Stetson Bennett picked them apart in the first half, 233 yards passing. He had 233 yards passing in the first half, somehow finished the game with 260. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I think Georgia's the best team in the country from what I've seen so far. Really, behind Georgia is the real question. I don't know who you put. I guess you would have to put Ohio State at 2, simply because they have the win against Penn State, and it's Ohio State, so everybody's going to be biased towards them. Who would you put at number 3? I would probably put Tennessee. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired of seeing these. I'm tired of seeing these excuses on why you can't throw the football. I saw this earlier with Ohio State. Just because it's raining doesn't mean you can't throw the football. I'm sorry. Alabama can do it. But hey, running the clock. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're up 4-6. Tennessee's offense couldn't hit a home run all day, and that's mainly their offense. So yeah, but these excuses with why you can't throw the football is just ridiculous. I mean, just because it's raining doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to throw the football. That's just my opinion. And Ohio State fans were saying that all day today because of the weather in Evanston, Illinois, against Northwestern today. But yeah, you want to run the clock out. Yeah, I get it. And I'm not saying that that's an issue, but I predicted a shootout. I had it 38-31. Final ended up being 27-13. Dogs cover the spread. Let's see. Is Georgia now 6-3 against the spread? Or did they push against Florida? 22. Was it 22.5 or 22 against Florida? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I know they covered today, but again, Georgia the best team in the country? Let me know. But yeah, like I said, who would be my top four? Well, one would definitely be Georgia. Two, because you have to look at Ohio State and Michigan, and then you have Clemson. And then you have TCU. If we're basing things on resume, TCU's resume took a hit today. Not TCU. Oklahoma State lost to Kansas. Shout out to Kansas, 6-3 on the year. They're going to a bowl game for the first time since 2009, something like that. It's great seeing Kansas. They have 3 Big 12 wins, and they are not a terrible. The Big 12's not terrible. Kansas is actually a good team, but I think it would have to go like this. This would be my, and I'm going to give you explanation why I have teams here and there. People are going to hate me for having this team at number 6. I'm going to put a question mark because I think this team might lose. This would be my top 6 right now. The only reason why I'd put Clemson at number 6, and I have the question mark there, is because I think they're actually going to lose tonight. They got to go on the road to Notre Dame. Yes, they did get a bye week, but they just have not looked like a top 5 team all year, in my opinion. Struggled with Syracuse. Syracuse has yet to win a game. Syracuse has looked terrible. Syracuse got pretty much manhandled today against Pitt, got manhandled against Notre Dame at home. Clemson's defense has really not impressed many. It has not really impressed me. I thought this defense would come in, be top 5, top 10 in the nation. They're sitting in the 20s, which is not terrible, but it's not what we've been used to with Clemson. And their offense is so inconsistent, it's not funny. I think Notre Dame's going to pull the win today. I would have Georgia at number 1, Ohio State at 2, Michigan at 3, Tennessee at 4, Bama 5. And depending on if Clemson wins tonight, I would have them at 6 because their resume is pretty good. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Bryce Young just threw a pick in the end zone. Dang. But Clemson's resume is pretty good. But anyway. Oh boy. You'll need to throw the football up 18 with the defense holding. The weather was also blah, 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 blah. I like I said, I don't care. I simply don't care about any excuse with throwing the football. But hey, with Ohio State, okay, fine. But you mean to tell me that they just can't line it up against Northwestern and just run it down their throats? Northwestern's one of the worst teams in college football. Statistically, I believe Northwestern is in the hundreds or 80s or 90s in rush defense. Why is Ohio State having huge issues running the football against Northwestern? If you say they can't pass it, which they couldn't today, blame it on the weather. I'll give you that. But I'm asking you why they couldn't line it up Northwestern and run it down their throat for 4 quarters, because they couldn't. They could in the final 2.5 quarters, which is different than the entire game. But anyway, yeah, he had an interception in the back of the end zone. Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know what else I have to tell you about this. Yeah, they look terrible. But so why did Northwestern outrush them if that's the case? See, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I gave you the stats. Statistically, Northwestern's not just one of the worst teams, but they are one of the worst rush defensive teams, one of the worst defensive teams. You mean to tell me, and based off of roster talent, Northwestern sitting in the high 50s, low 60s in the country in roster talent. You mean to tell me Ohio State just can't line it up, run it down their throat for 4 quarters if you want to blame the weather? I mean, come on. Ohio State was averaging 2.3 yards per carry in the first half. And that was, and that's really bad. Like, that's really bad. They got completely dominated in the first half. But anyway, enough on Ohio State. Like I said, they were able to dominate the line of scrimmage after the first half and really towards the second half, or really towards the end of the third. So this would be my top 6. Let me know what you guys think on that. I already asked you who do you guys think the best team in the country is. Leave us some comments. Drop the comments. I want to hear if there's any Tennessee fans, which I doubt. Listen, Tennessee is not a bad team, and I mean by this, Tennessee has that win against Bama. They have a pretty good win against Kentucky. Pittsburgh's okay. That's really all that they got, unless I'm missing somebody. Oh, they have that win against LSU. That is a huge win on the road against LSU. They have a lot of good wins. Tennessee's a good team. They're going to finish the year 11-1. Do I think they'll struggle next week? Yeah, I do, actually. I think Missouri's a team to look out for. Missouri is probably going to get to a bowl game. Oh, maybe not. They're 4-5. They play Tennessee and Arkansas, and they have a cupcake, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. That's who Missouri. Yeah. So Missouri is trying to get to a bowl game. This team is losing every game by like 3 or 4 points. I mean, they're like Nebraska last year. They're competing with anybody. They competed against us, nearly beat us. If they could have got it, and just if they trade one of those field goals in for a touchdown, they more than likely win the game. Let's be honest with that. But Missouri's going to be a tough game for Tennessee, especially after an emotional loss on the road. You get them at home. It's going to be a noon game. I expect Tennessee to struggle, but I expect Tennessee to get to 11-1. South Carolina's not that good. Your toughest game is really Missouri. I'm being honest with people. Missouri's not a bad team. Missouri is playing everybody close for some reason. I don't know why. They just are. If you look at their talent or their roster, they're in like the 30s. So not amazing talent, not terrible talent, but lower echelon of the SEC. Tennessee is probably, based off recruiting and whatnot, in the teens. Mid-teens, probably 15, 16, something like that. So Josh Heupel is getting everything he can out of his roster. But yeah. But anyway, this will be my top 6 right now, barring what happens tonight. Bama could end up losing. I mean, let's talk about if Bama ends up losing to LSU or even Ole Miss. Let's talk about if they lose to LSU first. LSU, they're all technically tied for first place right now, but LSU is number 1 if it ended today, even forgetting this game in the SEC West. But man, how far LSU has come from losing to Florida State to having kind of a flukish miracle win against Mississippi State. Now they did dominate the fourth quarter, so maybe that isn't the best term, but if you take away that muffed punt, this season will be completely different for LSU. And then having a complete ugly, dominating loss to Tennessee, where they only scored 13 points at home, looked terrible. Looked absolutely terrible in that game. And to where they are now, scoring 45 points in the last 2 games. Jaden Daniels is playing out of his mind. Like, he's putting up insane numbers. Like yeah, I mean, that team is really, really good. LSU is really good. They're a clear top 15 team right now. But Georgia's going to win the SEC East. They just are. Have that win against Tennessee. Does anyone think Georgia's going to lose to Mississippi State and Kentucky? If Georgia played, for that to happen, Georgia would have to not only play their worst game, but I mean, I don't even know how it could happen. Georgia plays at Mississippi State next week. Georgia will be a double-digit favorite. Mississippi State could be ranked. watch out for them being ranked. I'm not going to say the committee does this on purpose, but sometimes the committee does throw in an SEC team when they play a top 5 SEC team. I see this every year, and especially with Mississippi State. They do it like every year. With Mississippi State. Like they even did it last year too, when Mississippi State played, I think, Alabama. It wasn't Alabama. Who'd they play? I think it was, I don't know, Arkansas or whatever. They threw them in the top 25 simply because they had a win against Texas A&M, and that was it. Like that was literally it. Like they had a loss against Memphis, they had a win against Texas A&M. Like congratulations. But anyway, I think Kentucky's a top 25 team. Obviously, I think they're better than Mississippi State because they beat Mississippi State. But yeah, we do play on the road, night game. Will that be tricky? We'll see. I think Georgia will roll. The air raid is mainly, if your defense is disciplined, you're like Alabama was or is against Mike Leach, you're going to win the game. It really does depend on discipline and your slot corners. Slot and all your DBs, but specifically your slot corners, because that's where Will Rogers likes to hit inside the middle or 5, 6, 7 yard out. That's basically Mike Leach's bread and butter with the air raid. Then after that, you play Kentucky on the road. More than likely, that's going to be the SEC game in a week, unless I'm missing a game. Isn't that the only ranked matchup? Because I think Kentucky is going to be ranked when we play them. I think they're going to be 7-3. They play Vandy next week, I think. They have to because they haven't played Vandy. Yeah, so they play Vandy next week. That should be a win for them, looking at 7-3. And then I think they're going to be ranked. And then we play terrible Georgia Tech team who got a miracle win today on the road against Virginia. Nothing else to really say. I think Georgia's going to finish the year 12-0. Now, who are we going to play in the SEC championship game? I'm going to go with Alabama. I think Alabama is the best team in the SEC West. If we don't play Alabama, I would not be worried about playing LSU or Ole Miss. I'm sorry, I don't want to seem cocky or anything, but those two teams don't match up well with a team like Georgia. Ole Miss is specifically, they're a rush-heavy team. They're top 5 in rush offense last time I checked. Their pass offense is not good. Jackson Dart has not really had a complete game all year. And their defense has a lot of issues. I think if we somehow, some way played Ole Miss, I think we would absolutely blow them out. Like, I don't even think that would even be a game. I don't think we're going to play Ole Miss. I'm just throwing this out there because we could. I think we're either going to play Alabama or LSU. I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing Alabama. LSU, they are 1 or 2 years away. Like, Brian Kelly is going to have a really good team next year. If he gets a lot of these guys back, maybe a stronger offensive line. I'm not saying their offensive line is terrible, but Jaden Daniels helps them out a lot. And if they just get another year under his offense, under his belt, I think this LSU team could be pretty good. But, yeah, back to our game. Georgia completely dominated Tennessee. You want me to run down the stats again for people that weren't here? I got you. Stetson Bennett had 255, 56 yards passing. Only threw it 17 times. He went 17 to 25, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns. Let's see his rushing stats today. He had 1 carry for 13 yards and no design runs for Stetson Bennett. Now, I'm not saying I expected that, but he doesn't really run the ball that much, for being honest. Todd Monken likes to keep him in the pocket or rolling out. That's really it. He doesn't run the ball very much. In fact, I think he's only rushed it for 24 times. Now, he got sacked 0 times today, which kind of is expected with how good Georgia's offensive line is. Only getting pressured to the QB 20% of the time before this game. Only giving up 4 sacks on the year. All 4 were Stetson Bennett, though, if you really cared. Rushing the football, didn't really do great. It's kind of expected against a really good defensive line in Tennessee. But Kenny McIntosh had a pretty good game for being real. He had over 100 yards of total offense, 12 touches for 109 yards. 57 of those were a reception. He had a 50-yard reception, wide open on a wheel route earlier on in the first quarter, I believe. Maybe it was the second. If it was the second, let me know. I'm pretty sure it was the first quarter. And we went down and scored a touchdown easily. Oh, that must have been the second quarter. Anyways, what else is there? Dewan Edwards, our leading running back, had a pretty bad game, if we're being honest. 16 carries, 46 yards. Really had one good carry. He had a fumble. Didn't really play well. Branson Robinson, another one. Younger guy, 5 carries, 6 yards. Also a fumble. Lad McConkey, almost 100 yards receiving today. Had that big bomb, blew. Which corner was it for Tennessee? King or number 2? I forget which corner it was for Tennessee, but absolutely blew him out of the water. Easy TD. Arian Smith had a deep ball. Georgia was airing it out, especially in the first half. 3 plays of 3 pass plays for 35 yards or more. A couple for 50 yards as well. Marcus Rosery had that nice touchdown. Stetson Bennett threw a dot in the back of the end zone for a nice touchdown to go up 21-3. 2 forced fumbles. Oh wow. Ingram Dawkins recovered both. I had no idea. I thought someone else did. But yeah, anyway, 7 sacks. Oh, they're only going to count us for 6. Are you serious? Okay, so we only get counted for 6 sacks per ESPN. I swear we had 7. So they got Marshall, Brinson, Bullard, Carter. Ryan Davis didn't get counted for his sack. Am I missing something? Because I know for a fact he had a sack on the last play for Tennessee. That wasn't a design run play. So maybe ESPN was wrong, but I could have sworn that we had 7 sacks in this game. Wow. Keely Ringo, a nice interception. Just going through the stats. That's pretty much it. 0 sacks for Tennessee, obviously. Only 6 tackles for loss. 6 isn't a bad number because we had 8. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Georgia dominates. I was pretty confident Georgia would win this game. I was more confident in our offense outdoing our defense. But no, it was our defense. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Like I said many times, I think Georgia's the best team in the country right now. After that performance, I don't know who else you would put there. Ohio State struggled today. Clemson's playing right now. Michigan yet to play. We just beat Tennessee, so we add another top 10. And oh, by the way, we're the only team in the nation to have 2 top 10 wins so far. Oregon and now Tennessee, which happened to be a top 3 win. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think for the rest of the season. Is Georgia going 12-0? I think they are, obviously, unless Georgia plays their worst game of not just the season. Georgia would probably have to play worse than they did against South Carolina in 2019 for them to lose to any one of these 3 teams to end the year. I hope I don't jinx it. I'll be so mad at myself. I bet those 2 Tennessee fans saw at work today didn't have a good time. Yeah. Tennessee. And, you know, hats off to Tennessee. Tennessee is a good team. They are a top 5 team, in my opinion. But just not better than Georgia. Georgia came to play. Georgia was the better team. They completely dominated this game. And Kirby Smart just has something against Josh Heupel's offensive scheme. He's just had his number now for the second year in a row. This year we held him to 13. Last year we held him to 17. But I do believe Tennessee will go 11-1, and I think they could sneak into the playoffs because of that win against Alabama. That Kentucky win looks really good. LSU at worst is an 8-4 team. Maybe they lose to Arkansas. Maybe they lose to Texas A&M. Or maybe they just win out. Any other wins does Tennessee have? They're probably going to get obviously, I think they're going to get that win against South Carolina, but I don't know if that's going to be a big win unless South Carolina does beat Clemson, which I do think that is a possibility. But yeah, again, Georgia dominates Tennessee. That's pretty much it. Guys, make sure you guys like and comment. Share the videos if you can, and go join Mark Rogers' live stream today on the Voice of College Football YouTube channel. I believe he's almost up to 40,000 subscribers, which is awesome for him. And he does a live stream every weekend after all the games. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next week after the Mississippi State game. Peace out, guys.